Brutal here at YCS Orlando with top 64 contestant, biggest YCS of 2025. My goodness, with whoa, please introduce yourself to the world.
Yeah, my name's Klaus. I'm from Arizona, and I've been playing since forever, and first top in 10 years, so I'm excited to play the deck that I wanted to play with.
Oh, what deck, bro?
I played Mermail Atlanteans.
Whoa, what made you decide to play this deck for the event?
I'm most comfortable with it. I also just, like I was saying, I had all these cards beforehand, and so I figured to practice with it. In the beginning of the season for this year, I played it and got my invite and just kept sticking with it and was most comfortable with it. I have the other decks, but I just didn't want to play them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Before we start deck profile, any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to the people I room with, Jackson and Mitchell Martin. Shout out to Dion Anchorage. He helped me lab up this deck a lot and make a lot of the choices, some of the choices in here that were like critical to me doing well. So, and yeah, that's it.
Okay,
people back from Arizona.
Without further ado, show us the top 64 group.
Yeah, so I played 3 Teus. I think you have to. It's a starter. It can be a starter or an extender, depending on your hand. And then you play 3 Shadow Squad. This is the new card from Rage of the Abyss that just says special summon Prince or Pike from your deck, essentially, or any level 4, what have you, even Dragoon. So it's a great extender, and it makes level 7s, and it's good. I played triple Dragoons. I think this card should be self-explanatory. It's not once per turn. You can get this off search 5 or 6 times a turn. 3 of probably the best one card. I mean, maybe it's crazy to say. One card starter in the game. It does so much. It loops for 2, loops for 3 for hand. It sets up a double toad, and then with what I'm playing, which I'll show later, it like essentially makes an FTK. And then I played 2 of the new card that came out in Suda. I think a lot of people didn't read this card yesterday when we were playing, and they didn't realize that it comes from field and hand, so it ends up being a starter and an extender. And there's some cool plays where like you can look at their hand with the card I played, Minstrel, and you can like leave Blurry if they have it in their hand, and then you can send later Mullen Glacier to get them down to like 2 or 3 cards, and then if you hit Blurry, you can let it bounce back to the field for its effect because it has to when you discard, and then this becomes a starter even further. So there's ways to like make it live on turn 1. And then this is my iteration of the deck, so I can talk about it at the end. But I played Diva. It is the worst second of 1-card starters that we have, but it is a 1-card starter. It's the only other one that exists for this deck, which summons Prince, and then you can play. There was a lot of time people would just not have Imperm or Ash, and you would summon this, and you'd be able to get to, and they'd have like Foolus, and I'd be able to give them a draw, and then because the way I played, I could give them like 5 or 6 draws, and I could essentially end a board which was literally unbreakable. So I didn't really care, and if they did Imperm Ash it, you could further the plays with other cards I played. I play Mullen Glacier. It's a Delinquent Duo. I don't think that's self-explanatory. Something for this deck, I only played 1 of this card. At the beginning, I showed all my 7s. I don't play Coelacanth, I don't play Agrind, and I don't play any of the other 7s because I just don't think... I think that the things they add to the deck are good. They're individual cards, but the secondary cards that are added for deck building are not so good. You'll really need this for the start of the combo and your discard, and usually it's over by that. So I probably needed a second once, but other than that, I would probably still not do it. And then I only played 1 of this card, where normally seen lists they play 3 of this card. I think drawing multiples of these is just awful. It's way worse than Diva. Because if this gets stopped, you can at least extend with other cards you play. When this gets stopped in your discard, you like end most times if you get Imperm. And so I just never wanted the draw card. I only wanted the special and I'll squad if needed for the combo. Minstrel again, the 1 infantry for popping, and then I'll save this for the end because it's the reason I played the deck too. 1 equip spell, one more 1 for 1 for Prince, I played Deep Sea Aria because it's the closest thing we have to like a water bonfire. So the idea behind Diva, and I'll show my expectation later, is that you can like get it off board with Salmon Grey Almirage, and you can like use Aria to then search your other extender and play. So it was reasonable. I main Droplet because I think the deck's worst card to play against is Dweller, and you can play under Droll sometimes. So I wanted to main deck this, and I wanted to just play under the idea that I could use Mulch Armies, which is this Pirellias and the Fuloses, to try to draw into like these type of hand traps or the board breaker for Droplet to be able to like end them on half boards. So they end on like Blind Dweller, then I can at least try to play. So and then the other hands are Imperm and Ash. And then the last card for my main deck, 41st card, that was like the day before added on me. My friend Dion helped me think about it. Is Barrier Statue.
Oh my!
So the idea behind this is that I can hand loop them, but I can kind of play this deck like Flunderees in some way. I don't like that deck to say it, but it's kind of what it is, like Wind Statue. So if you do that, there's a play that you can special off of, and you can essentially end with this. Under Foolish, you can give them 5 or 6 drops like this, and with this Toad, Abyssalacia, a Mermail King, and another Toad. And then in your hand you have Prince, and Prince can summon back the new Poseidra and bounce it so they can't during battle, so they can never attack over it.
Jeez. So
it's literally an FTK with that because there's no out essentially. Double Imperm if they can draw it off 6 cards.
Oh my!
But even then I have Toads, so I have 2 Toads to negate. So yeah, that's the main deck. 41 cards. I would like to have been 40, but I think it worked out great. I think it worked out fine. Yeah. I ended up only drawing this card maybe twice, and one of the times I did, it actually was really good because I had enough extenders in hand, and I couldn't play through Nib, so I just summoned this and played it with this on the field, and they couldn't nib me. So.
Wow, that's what's up.
Do you want side or extra now?
Extra's cool.
Okay, so because I played Diva, I played this card. It does something sometimes. It never came up, but it's just a 4-star water. It's a tuner, so you could technically synchro it on your turn. And like against Malice, I mean, unless I'm reading it never came up, so I never had to reread it. But it's that you're synchro, and then you can summon this in your Malice and maybe target one of their banished, and summon them from deck, and it puts it back and can stop the banished beforehand. So, in theory, I again never came up, so I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. But and then this is the I played Prima Donna because of this, and because it gets the 3rd card from Minstrel. This just straight, if you Minstrel them, this summons this from deck for free. So yeah, and then Dweller, I think it's mandatory for this format. And then another reason to play this deck, because OCG doesn't have it, is 2 Totally Awesome, 2 Bahamut Shark, one of the new card, Abyss Strike. I didn't play the trap. There's reason to play the trap, which is if you open Teus Water and nothing else, you can play under it because you can search Squad and summon and make it a 7 and then detach, search trap, and special Prince and go off. Yeah. But I didn't play it because it was just another brick, and I tried in this list. I completely traded all the bricks except this, and it wasn't really a brick. Gaios at one point cut it, but I think it's necessary because if Tempai was played or if Cashier cards, I want to be able to stop them, and it's another time where you have awkward hands where you need to end on this instead. Yeah. Soul Charge of the deck. That's what it is. It bounces going second. It breaks the whole board. This plus infantry plus the new card can pop a card and bounce 4. So you can break a lot of boards under like Droll and what have you by specially and playing. So it's worth it. I played this Almirage because of Diva. So when you start, the play was like when you had it is you go Diva summon. And if they stop it, which I almost wanted them to every time, you have this or Poseidra, and you could extend. But if you didn't have Poseidra, you could just link this off Almirage, make Almirage, activate Aria, banish this card, and then you could get your other extender like Squad or Dragoons, and then or Prince if you had another way of extending off that. So it seemed like the easiest way. It played in more into Droll, but the idea was that my first line of actions were always to try to hand rip with Minstrel before if I could. So yeah, so that was that, and then. I played Abyssalacia. This card is so much better post-Pseudo because its graveyard effect is crazy when it gets killed. You can send the new Poseidon from your deck and special it back all in the same thing in defense mode, and then bounce and then get follow-up. And then on your opponent's turn, the first effect, just sending infantry or sending Squad to do the same thing is is crazy. It's actually it's really good. So coral, and then because you need it for the one line, this card is the reason it's an FTK because it's Sprite Elf, so it's broken. And then I played this. I never summoned this. I don't know. So in Top Cut just now, this was Changing, and I never needed Changing until Top Cut. So maybe this will become Changing. I did this because there's sometimes you get hand trapped enough and your opponent has a board, and like even if you're under a Dweller, you can like still under Dweller get through these three, and then you can use this, I call it the button, because once you do it, it's like this locks you into water, and this is controlled by the user, so none of their cards come back.
Ooh.
So you can like under Dweller, you can like push them to do that, and then like being able to like rip 2 cards usually. So it worked out in testing, but I don't know, maybe this becomes Changing because in Top Cut now I would have had this, a 3 and a 7, and I could have made Changing, and I could have stopped him from banishing against Malice, so...
Oh, okay.
Maybe, yeah. That's the extra. That's probably the only card I would change. This card did come up a bunch, by the way, for just making it, because when you soul charge back, you can soul charge back the Minstrel and Prince, and then you make the 2 4s. And sometimes when you need it for like when you go second, and you I side out the equip spell, then you can make another toad this way. So yeah. And then for the side deck, 3 of the other more charmy, because like I said, I wanted to be able just to charmy people so that I could draw into my engine, because it was a 2 card engine deck, 2 card starter. So it worked out. I actually played Malice once and I lost it. So yeah, good talk. I didn't get shifted all weekend. Every time I didn't get drolled. Well, that's not true. I got drolled once, but I played through it. And then Lancia for it as well, and for Christian. I play 3 XYZ Encore for Dweller essentially, and sometimes Detonator if they have Eclipse and I can't out it.
Yeah.
I played this for Malice and Mitsurugi because the benefit of this water deck is that Mitsurugi, like, you can't stop them, like it's really hard to hand trap them, but they do a lot of plays with like Ghostaji and eventually get to like their ritual spell, and this just stops the ritual spell. And if I stop the ritual spell, I stop their turn. I played 1 Mitsurugi Raizo end of day 1, and I won because I had this card, so... It's also probably one of the few decks that can actually just play this without any other things. And then the last 3 cards is 2 Minstrel and 1 Coldbind. I think this card is just better in this deck than Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator adds also... The one thing I was not doing with this deck with like Silicant is it adds to not bad deck building. This is another water, it's another extender, and it's searchable by like 9 cards, especially with Aria, so it's really good. And so this, you can get to this usually, or open it before Droll and go off. And then this is just for a shifter and whatever, so that's the list. I'm happy with it. I wish I would have gone farther, but, you know, whatever.
Hey, well, congrats again. First top after 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years, yeah, it's crazy, yeah. So.
Yeah, until next time, everyone. Mortal out.